We took a look at some of their reactions to the news of Trump's win. Look at this.
Hey there. How are you doing? If you watch the show regularly, I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
What's happening, everybody? I decided that I need a break from all of the soy boy, beta cuck leftists and their negativity. That's where Megyn Kelly comes in. On her show, The Megyn Kelly Show, she and her guest Piers Morgan let the woke, late-night morons and the you better think like us or you're a fascist mainstream liberal news anchors know how more than half of the country feels about their propaganda. With that said, let's laugh alongside Megyn Kelly and Piers Morgan and lap up the sweet, sweet liberal tears of these friends of Diddy. 45 and 47, baby. Let's go.
Back in the day when I was on the prime time of Fox and you were on the prime time of CNN, a couple of hours after our shows ended, late night comics would come on and they occasionally would make us laugh, Piers. I mean, occasionally they understood that they were in the game of making everyone laugh. As you know, they've abandoned that game now and they're just political operatives out there. Colbert, Kimmel, Seth Meyers, who I struggle to even mention that guy's name. He's such an absolute prick. I can't stand him. But anyway, it's just my thought bubble out loud. We took a look at some of their reactions to the news of Trump's win. Look at this.
Hey there. How are you doing? If you watch the show regularly, I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate. It was a terrible night for poor people, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Said he would be a dictator on day one. The question now is, what will the rest of us be doing on day one? Now's the time to stand in solidarity with our friends, with our neighbors.
Well, it happened again. And in this democracy, the majority has spoken, and they said they don't care that much about democracy. The first time Donald Trump was elected, he started as a joke and ended as a tragedy. This time he starts as a tragedy. Who knows what he'll end as?
Any comforting words for them, Piers?
Just get over yourselves. Honestly, it's so pathetic watching grown men weep, because actually the real reason they're weeping is that they know they've spent years over-demonizing Trump as the new Hitler, and he's going to wreck everything and wreck America. He's terrible. He's a fascist. He's a neo-Nazi, blah, 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 blah. And what happened this week? America, having already seen Trump as president for 4 years and seen 4 years of what then followed under Biden and Harris, they went out in record numbers, white, black, Latino, men, women, all demographics, and they voted for apparently the new Hitler. In other words, they didn't believe a word of what these guys were saying. And I would say further, Megyn, what the hell happened in late night in America? When Johnny Carson was the king of late night, nobody knew who he voted for. Nobody knew. He made a point of mocking both sides. Jay Leno said yesterday, he said, I don't like Trump, but it was a great week for democracy. And salute to Jay Leno. I interviewed him last year about this. He doesn't understand why these late night guys want to be so obviously partisan. Why? And they're all partisan one way. And there's a reason why Greg Gutfeld is kicking all their backsides.
Hey, if you like watching videos like these, like, subscribe. Let's get back to the video.
In late night on Fox. And it's because he's genuinely funny. He's a comedian. These guys think they're sort of preaching to some weird choir that wants them to be terribly serious and take all this very personally when their guy or woman, in this case, doesn't win an election. We don't give a stuff. Just be funny. And one of the things that I don't watch any of them anymore, but I see the clips. They're so worthy. The virtue signaling is so pathetic. Get over yourselves and go back to being funny. I think the ship has sailed for these guys. And it's interesting, isn't it? They talk about inclusion and diversity and all that thing. They're all middle-aged white guys. Have you noticed? All of them.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So, but my advice is if you believe in diversity, get a few more diverse people in there who can actually make me laugh.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, what they want with that virtue signaling is for you to rub their belly. They want the leftist elites to rub their little pupper bellies. That's what they're looking for. Please rub my pupper belly. Oh, it feels so good. I'm so much better than everybody else, those losers who voted for that evil man Trump. And you see it in the comment by Colbert. And it was also a terrible night for you people who voted for him. You're basically just too stupid to know it then. I mean, he said, you just don't realize it yet. Like, you're not smart like I am.
No, it's so delusional and so patronizing. And he sort of assumed everyone's had a bad night. Hey, Stephen, buddy, over 70 million people voted Trump. Massively more voted for Trump than voted for your girl, Kamala. And you know what? That means most Americans are not feeling like you. They're not. They're feeling happy because their person won. And the reason their person won is because this whole, as Elon Musk calls it, the woke mind virus has actually, I think, with this election result, been eradicated. We found a cure.
That's true.
And the cure is Donald Trump backed by Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and these other guys who actually, Rogan and...
So Megyn Kelly is 53 years old. I'm not saying she's your dream woman, but it made me think about something. Why is it that conservative women are so much hotter than leftist wenches? What's that? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, who knew? Turns out real men don't only go for looks. We like brains too. And ladies, how do we know if you have a brain? Well, one easy indicator is you didn't vote for a cackling, dishonest, unpopular retard that doesn't give a f*** about you. Look, I'm no neuroscientist, but I think that's a pretty good indication of whether a woman has a brain or not. But in all seriousness, I'm well aware that I'm certainly no prize myself. But it would be impossible for me to date someone that voted for Kamala Harris, because even if that's the only piece of information I have about her, I already know that we don't share the same values. And values are the foundation of a long-lasting, fulfilling relationship. Why would I waste my time? Well, Piers hit it on the head there, didn't he? The cure to the woke mind virus. Trump, Rogan, Musk. But he left out a very important piece of that puzzle. You and me. We did this. Jimmy Kimmel, shut your mouth. Go suck off Howard Stern's wrinkly, shriveled old pecker while you hide in the basement from COVID and get the vaccine twice a day. As far as Jimmy Kimmel is concerned, I think this is what happens when you have no real problems in your life and you don't have Jesus. You have to create problems to white knight for because your life is without purpose. You desperately need something that you perceive as meaningful to cry about. I feel sorry for you, and I do hope you see the light. Just don't project your shit onto us, try to make yourself feel better. Here's the difference between us and people like Jimmy Kimmel. Regardless of who won this election, I will continue to be successful and navigate the obstacles that arise. But ultimately, what matters most is that I'm at peace. I know what's really important. By the way, that first clip was just an appetizer. We're getting into the entree here. Let's get back to the video.
And it was the woke mind virus that completely destroyed that for me. And I'm, became much more active on these social issues once they started hurting our children and ruining people's careers. You speak of the white middle-aged men who are lecturing us about diversity and so on. I got another one for you. His name is Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC. Take a listen to Top 14.
Oh, my God.
When he was editor of the newspaper, The North Star, Frederick Douglass wrote, "We hold woman to be justly entitled to all we claim for man." That was a very unpopular opinion among white men in this country at that time, and it remains an unpopular opinion among some white men in this country to this day. It may be that not enough people in this country yet believe in the full equality of women to elect a woman president of the United States.
Thoughts on that?
No, it's not because she's a woman. And it's not because she's a black woman. It's because she was a useless candidate. And by the way, the Democrats knew that, because when she tried to run before for their nominee, she got bounced out in the first round. She then became a vice president and was hugely unpopular and was working under a president whose approval rating was in the tank. And that is the person they decided to coronate without any democratic process as their candidate to take on Donald Trump. They brought all this on themselves. I mean, I was watching MSNBC for a few minutes last night as an act of willful self-torture. And what made me laugh was they were trying to explain to each other, Rachel Maddow, and I think Lawrence was there, all there, whining away. And they were trying to explain how Trump had won the Latino vote, while simultaneously, according to them, being the most racist human being to ever run for a high office in America. And of course, the reason is because people do not think he is the person that they depict him as. They don't think he's a Nazi. They don't think he's a fascist. They don't think he's the most racist person to ever run for office. That's why Trump won so big with Latinos and why so many more black voters came out for him. And when it comes to fascism, as you and I have discussed before, Megyn, is there any more purer embodiment of fascism than the woke mindset, which is you dress like we say you will, you talk like we say you will, you laugh at jokes that we approve, you read books that we approve, you watch television and movies that we approve, and if you don't do all these things, we will absolutely annihilate you. We'll shame you, we'll vilify you, we'll humiliate you, we'll cancel you, we'll get you fired from your jobs. That is the embodiment of fascism. So the fascists are not actually Trump and MAGA and his supporters. It's actually Kamala Harris and the woke followers of hers who have pursued a philosophy of fascism now for years. And what we saw with this election result is that mindset getting crushed.
I forgot to mention Seth Meyers, that highly rated late night host. He said, "What will the rest of us be doing on day one?" You know, predicting doom and gloom. I cannot predict at all what everyone else will be doing on day one of Donald Trump's presidency. However, I've got a pretty good idea of what Seth Meyers will be doing. He'll be eating caviar off his signed Diddy album, whacking off to videos of Kamala laughing at absolutely nothing, and most likely crying. So you saw Lawrence O'Donnell suggest in that clip that many white men in this country don't believe in equality for women. Lawrence, before you lecture us, tell me the definition of a woman. Don't worry, I'll wait. When you learn the definition, maybe then we can have a discussion. Maybe. See, a woman, a real woman, loves God, loves her family, loves this country, and sets an example for their children because they're the ones that give the world 18 years of unpaid labor, giving the world a gift that only they can, our future generations. All the amazing women that voted for Donald Trump, they didn't vote for your candidate because their concern isn't with how many babies they get to kill. Their concern is how they can raise God-fearing, honest, strong, and loving young men and women that people can lean on when times get tough. So miss us with your bullshit. As we wrap up today's video, let me leave you with this. I often acknowledge on this show, I understand my limitations. I'm not the most articulate guy in the world. So please let me quote one of the greatest minds of this century from the very, very popular television show South Park, Eric Cartman. Eric, take it away.
Suck my balls, suck my balls, my balls, my balls, suck 'em dry.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. So to everyone besides Megyn and Piers that were featured in that video that we just watched, I hope Eric doesn't mind, but I'd like to just reflect on his words and really let these sink in. Suck my balls. Suck my balls. My balls. My balls. Suck 'em dry. Couldn't have said it any better myself. That's it for today's show. If you like watching woke idiots get roasted by intelligent people with a brain, then click on one of the two videos that just popped up on your screen. Otherwise, I really, really appreciate you being here today, and I hope you got a laugh. The end.